anche in Messico, Sudafrica, Australia e altrove. Ci sarebbero stati fino ad oggi 68 UFO caduti. Il sergente maggiore Robert Dean. Negli anni 60 faceva parte dello Stato Maggiore della NATO, sotto il comando del generale Lemnitzer, qui in una fotografia con dedica a Dean. La NATO era più volte entrata in stato di massima allerta perché squadriglie ignote, cioè UFO, provenienti dal blocco comunista, avevano sorvolato l'Europa occidentale scomparendo sopra la Scandinavia. Dean poté leggere un grosso documento segreto della NATO sul tema. Cosa erano quelle squadriglie? Forse un pericolo per la NATO?
Lo studio NATO ha chiarito, era la ragione principale dello studio, che non c'è mai stata minaccia militare. Quegli UFO avevano infatti ripetutamente dimostrato di avere un livello tecnologico talmente superiore al nostro che se avessero avuto intenzioni ostili non esisteremmo più già da molto tempo. Sia noi che i sovietici sapevamo che gli UFO erano una realtà ed entrambi pensavamo se solo riuscissimo ad impadronirci del loro sistema di propulsione. I visitatori, come li chiamo io, utilizzavano un sistema antigravitazionale a propulsione elettromagnetica estremamente sofisticato. Quando lasciai l'esercito, sapevamo dell'esistenza di 4 gruppi diversi di visitatori e uno di questi gruppi aveva un aspetto identico al nostro. Intendo dire proprio identico, al punto che se uno di loro fosse seduto accanto a lei in aereo, al ristorante o a teatro, non se ne accorgerebbe assolutamente. Ma ci sono diversi gruppi con programmi diversi. Ad alcuni di loro sta veramente molto a cuore il problema della sopravvivenza della specie umana, tanto che hanno cercato di assisterci, di aiutarci perché hanno capito che abbiamo raggiunto un livello tecnologico estremamente delicato. Credo che questi visitatori ci stiano aiutando come noi faremmo con un fratello minore. Ci aiutano a superare questa fase di transizione facendoci crescere e maturare. A determinati livelli all'interno del mio governo, qualcuno vuole che io continui a fare quello che sto facendo, perché continuo a condividere con la gente tutto quello che so in modo pacifico e senza minacce. Lo faccio lasciando nella gente un sentimento di speranza. Per questo ritengo che il mio governo desideri che io continui a farlo, perché sono realista. Sono un vecchio soldato in pensione e se il mio governo avesse voluto eliminarmi o zittirmi, avrebbe potuto farlo con estrema facilità in tutti questi anni.
Ma lei ha avuto incontri con i visitatori?
Non ho intenzione di prendermi gioco di lei. In tutta onestà, devo dirle che la mia risposta alla sua domanda è sì. In questo momento non sono tuttavia disposto a scendere nei dettagli su questo argomento. Ad ogni modo, sì. Li considero degli amici.
Lei pensa che il governo degli Stati Uniti abbia avuto contatti con i visitatori?
Ho una quantità di buoni amici che occupano posizioni di spicco all'interno del governo. Molti di loro della mia età sono tuttora nel governo. La maggior parte dei miei vecchi amici sono in pensione, ma alcuni di loro lavorano ancora nelle basi di Langley, di Fort Meade, con posti di responsabilità. Essi dicono che esistono prove inequivocabili che sia attualmente che in passato abbiamo avuto uno stretto rapporto con almeno uno, ma probabilmente due gruppi provenienti da fuori. Credo alle prove che ho raccolto. Ci credo e le accetto. Ho avuto conferme da così tante e diverse fonti che le accetto come autentiche.
Si ha notizia che il presidente Eisenhower nel 1954 avrebbe avuto un incontro con visitatori extraterrestri nella base militare di Edward, non lontano da Los Angeles. Lo dichiarò in questa lettera del 1954 il giornalista Gerald Light della CBS, che fu presente a titolo privato all'episodio. Scrive: un gruppo di UFO è sceso sulla base e ha dimostrato straordinarie capacità di volo, materializzandosi e smaterializzandosi davanti a decine di scienziati sconvolti.
In the last days before Colonel Steve Wilson's passing, he granted what became his final interview to Dr. Richard Boylan. What follows are some of the most important elements of those conversations. Wilson claimed that Project Pounce does not exist as a unit in order to maintain the utmost security, but instead only came together for UFO crash retrieval incidents. Members of the Project Pounce team were summoned only when necessary. They did not know each other and joined the team because of their very specific areas of expertise. Wilson claimed that there were 33 levels of cosmic top secret, an interesting number in that it mirrors Freemasonry. At the top of the totem pole, Q33, is the Military Agency for Joint Intelligence, or MAGI. Wilson said, "No person knows it all except for level 33, people like Henry Kissinger and Edward Teller." MAGI's executive board includes its chairman Henry Kissinger, Q33, and atomic scientist Edward Teller, also Q33, now deceased. Interestingly, during the World War II era, history records that both of these men appear to have been simultaneously in the United States as well as in Germany at the University of Heidelberg. Wilson explained that level Q32 is Majestic 12, or MJ12, a leadership board for field operations related to the UFO cover-up. Of Kissinger and Teller, Wilson said, both are MJ12 members, which number 36 in all as of 1994. It might interest you to know that they go back as far as Project Paperclip, which was a secret program that relocated Nazi scientists into America to push forward the military, aerospace, and rocket programs being developed in the U.S. Level Q31, according to Wilson, are certain aerospace manufacturing executives like Ben Rich of Lockheed Martin Skunk Works in Palmdale, California, whose statements on exotic aerospace technology are discussed in the UFO Hypotheses film Michael Schratt, Volume 1. Among other Q-31 aerospace manufacturers, according to Wilson, is Northrop and its facility in the mountains northwest of Lancaster, California, and Boeing's Phantom Works facility in Seattle, Washington. Leading the scientific apparatus at S4 for many years was Edward Teller, Q-33. It was Teller who cleared naval intelligence physicist Bob Lazar to work at S4. Teller led teams of scientists who back-engineered the crashed alien UFO vehicles into functional U.S. anti-gravity aerospace craft that human military astronauts could operate, like Lockheed's X-22A disc. Wilson claimed that this program, headed by Teller, was not responsive to command authority of the United States President. Wilson also informed Boylan that space warfare operations against selected alien visitors were being executed by military astronauts trained at a secret Air Force academy. At Boylan's request, Colonel Wilson drew up a chart of the operating structure of Strategic Defense Initiative, a diagram he nicknamed Star Wars City, made up of government, military, and elite defense contractor corporations. Wilson said that it was common practice for military officers to rotate out of military leadership into executive positions at these defense contractor corporations, a good old boy network, if you will. Wilson also singled out Admiral Bobby Ray Inman, whom he claimed had control over Decision Science Applications Incorporated. Wilson said, Decision Science Applications Incorporated is a group made up of all the heads of the military hardware manufacturing in the Black area. Another elite defense contractor Wilson highlighted is the Rockefeller Company, a huge beneficiary of the Strategic Defense Initiative, also known as the Ballistic Missile Defense Organization, also known as Star Wars. In this photo, Henry Kissinger is seen with fellow collaborators David and Jay Rockefeller. David Rockefeller has long been associated with high authority over the Council on Foreign Relations, the CFR, whose long-term globalist goals are widely known. For a more detailed report on Rockefeller influence on the U.S. government and military, see the UFO Hypotheses film, Aztec, Volume 1. Kissinger, said Colonel Wilson, is a key figure in MK-Ultra, which according to Dr. Boylan is a secret, ongoing mind control research and development project directed by the CIA and employs psychotronic devices, selective use of drugs, hypnosis, and signals and frequencies designed to influence people's thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Boylan sees a strong link between mind control and the UFO cover-up. Mind control research may have even earlier roots than is made obvious from the CIA and its Robertson panel of 1953, perhaps originating within Nazi Germany with Dr. Joseph Mengelé's vicious experiments and Joseph Goebbels' Nazi propaganda machine. Additional information on mind control is available in the UFO Hypotheses film Peggy Kane Volume 2, NASA Upside Down. During author William Steinman's investigation for UFO crash at Aztec, Steinman discovered that Captain Henry Kissinger was a leading figure associated with the first Interplanetary Phenomena Unit, IPU, out of Camp Hale, Colorado, just after World War II. Shortly after publishing his investigation, California police warned Steinman and his family that they had apprehended a man who appeared to have marked Steinman for assassination. Steinman quickly dropped his UFO research investigations due entirely to these threats. Wilson reported to Boylan that Magi employs Wackenhut as a private contract agency for assassinations and security under the moniker 1010 Special Security Squadron, and that the next level of clearance, Q30, is given to Wackenhut's 4 highest officers. According to Wilson, this 1010 Special Security Squadron reports directly to the National Reconnaissance Organization, but is funded by the tax dollars of U.S. citizens. Recall that Chairman of Magi, according to Wilson, is Henry Kissinger. Wilson admitted to Boylan that even as director of Project Pounce, his own clearance was much lower. I was only level 27. That's as far as I could go. Boylan remarks that Wilson was sickened by Kissinger and Teller's lust for power. Both acted as if they were above all laws in Wilson's view. Appalled by their unethical and unconstitutional behavior, Colonel Wilson tried to go public with his information on a short-lived website and gave interviews to Roberto Pinotti, Maurizio Baiata, Bill Hamilton, and Richard Boylan in his last days to thwart Magi's evil plans once Wilson realized that he had been poisoned with cancer by his superiors. Wilson understood that Magi's plans include both controlling the most advanced, exotic aerospace anti-gravity fighter vehicles from back-engineered UFOs, as well as manipulation of the masses through propaganda and mind control in order to force with invincibility their designs for world power upon an unsuspecting global population. Before his death, Colonel Steve Wilson, like Orion, Lazar, Uhaus, Schneider, Bill Cooper, and Philip Corso, helped immensely with shedding light on the Machiavellian world of black budget defense and the UFO cover-up within the United States.
But he came out and told about the secrets of S4, and he quickly died after that. He died right up here in Phoenix. But he had a real colorful history. When he discovered that his own people had poisoned him and given him the disease that he was dying from, he opened a website and tried to put as much information on there as he could. I don't remember what it is now, but he died shortly after that in hospital Phoenix. But he knew that we have craft. He knew where the bases were. He knew that we had a base at Beale and 100 Beale and 100 Vandenberg. Yeah, 4 in the United States, in the zone of interior, and 4 deployed overseas. And the ones overseas, the host countries don't even know they're there. They're dug into excavated facilities. All of them are underground. All of the craft always leave from underground and return to underground when they come back for their missions. The Russians are shooting some down too. I don't know how they distinguish which ones to fire out and which ones not to. But he said that the Russians had brought down 3 or 4, and we brought down like 8 or 10. He had brought them down or driven them off. And you know, that's a dangerous operation. Those people are coming from power sources a lot more sophisticated than ours, and somebody may want to retaliate someday, and we're stuck here. We can't go any place to escape.
About 38 levels above top secret. The highest is cosmic. That's, okay, I'll tell you right now, that's UFOs, aliens, and particleization. Now, like you heard a while ago, there's only probably about 25 people in the world that know things that are known at that level. No president has had that level, has ever been cleared for that level. Eisenhower was the closest. Eisenhower wanted somebody to be in charge. He tried the CIA director, and it didn't work. CIA was working primarily for itself. Most of the intelligence directors of the services were working for themselves.
What happened was Eisenhower got sold out. I think that he realized that all of a sudden this matter is going into the control of corporations. He realized that he was losing control. He realized that the phenomenon of whatever it was that we were faced with was not going to be in the best hands, and those were as far as I can remember, that was the expression that was used. It's not going to be in the best hands.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
And so it was organized under the name the NRO. You couldn't mention NRO.
NRO, National Reconnaissance Office. Basically run by the Air Force. The Reconnaissance Office, from my understanding of people that I've had contacts with since I retired, has taken on a lot more responsibility, particularly towards UFO and extraterrestrial activities. You could say that they picked up where Blue Book dropped off.
If you're on that level, there's an organization worldwide called ACIO. That's Alien Contact Intelligence Organization. If you pay your dues and you follow the rules, you can benefit, your government is allowed to benefit from that organization's information.
Henry Kissinger headed some sort of a study group back in the 50s to study the ramifications of this information if it had leaked through a credible source. In fact, Jimmy Carter was not brought into the loop. They, for some reason, the group, the control group, they don't trust the guy for some reason. They don't trust Jimmy Carter. They were afraid that he would come out and make statements, blanketed statements to the news media.
I was contacted by Ms. Marcia Smith, who was the director of the Science and Technology Division of the Congressional Research Service. She asked to meet with me, and I met with her, and she informed me that President Carter, upon taking office in January of 1977, held a meeting with then the Director of Central Intelligence, who was George Bush Sr., and demanded that the Director of Central Intelligence turn over to the President the classified information about unidentified flying objects and the information that was in the possession of the United States intelligence community concerning the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence. This information was refused to the President of the United States by the Director of Central Intelligence, George Bush Sr.
Told us we could not talk about this to anyone, including any of the other crews, our spouses, our family, even amongst each other. So we could not discuss this at all.
In the military, they do ridicule you, and I was ridiculed a few times. I was told I would never make Master Sergeant. I was on orders for tech, but I was told I would never make Master Sergeant if I brought the strap up again.
The pilots that had seen things and talked about it, some of them were let go, some of them released from their flying and treated as nutcases and things like that.
At times I used to carry a nuclear weapon. In other words, I was mentally fit to carry nuclear weapons, and I'm not mentally fit if I see a UFO. Well, this criticism and this ridicule has, I think, done more to keep the story coming out than almost anything else.
It had been discussed with me on numerous occasions. Talked about what could happen to me militarily and what could happen to me even if I discussed this as a civilian.
That subject just was dropped. It just wasn't discussed.
Anything to discredit you, and you'd never get a promotion, and I'd spend the next 3.5 years up at the North Pole living in a tent checking weather balloons.
I've made no money from this. I've got nothing but pain and suffering out of it, out of talking about it. I've been harassed at my home. This was used against me partially in losing a job once in teaching. I've had a hell of a time after I've told this story, but I continue to tell the story because I think it's important for people to understand that this sort of shit goes on in the government.
He was sorry he wrote the book. He was sorry he exposed the family to the ridicule, to the lawsuits. It's been very tough on our entire family. He did not want to die, leaving us with these problems. Just hope that the future people such as yourself and me will know what to do with this type of knowledge that this man brought forward. I do say that he is the first man to come forward in a high capacity.
This man is a 71-year-old mechanical engineer who, like Bob Lazar, claims to have worked at Area 51 and to talk to us about certain...
We received a disc from extraterrestrials. This particular one that I had to work on, or did work on, was from the Kingman crash. And that was later on taken to a Nevada test site where, at the time, I didn't know.
Were there any alien bodies recovered?
No bodies. There were 4 live, feeling good guys.
4 live extraterrestrials?
4 live, feeling good, extraterrestrial type individuals, yes.
And where were those 4 extraterrestrials taken?
Initially they were taken to New Mexico. And then several months later they were taken to the Nevada site. One of the things I worked on was a flying disc simulator to train pilots to fly this strange-looking craft designed for humans to fly, not for any extraterrestrials to fly.
His most fantastical claim was that he worked at Area 51 with an alien codenamed J-Rod for 16 years on this simulator project.
J-Rod is a gray alien, about 5'4". His role was only as a translator, scientific translator. That was all. If we wanted to put something in the place of what they had, he had to agree with it. I would have a question, and I would bring it up in my mind, just how I wanted to present it with him, and he'd already know that I had this question, and he would already have the answer for me. And if he responded, it would be in my voice. And you wouldn't even open your lips. It is possible that he and a few thousand others are working on the project, either here or elsewhere.
Is this a few thousand other greys?
A few thousand other greys like himself.